accepting the challenge. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, thank you, Vikas, for that. So, hello, everyone. Let me quickly give you a brief intro about myself, and then let's just start with the presentation. So, I'm a security global black belt here at Microsoft, and I have been working with Microsoft for over 2+ years now. And I work for the India business and manage the threat intelligence and external attack surface acquisition part that Microsoft did last year, which I will walk you through today. So we are the specialist team that work from the technical and the sales side, leading up the India business for these two tools that are the incubated products at Microsoft. Prior to Microsoft, I carry years of experience in cybersecurity. I have done my master's in this from the US, and I've worked in the US, including the US Army, for the cybersecurity space. And yeah, so I'm here now to walk you through these two great tools, and let's see how they can benefit you. But before I start, I would request Vikas if you can start with the polls, and then we will start with the presentation.
Awesome, sure. So this is the very first time we are doing a poll. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to open the poll now, and this should be on the screen now. Uh, Let me know when you want to close it, Kriti. So guys,
Sure,
you will,
will.
yeah, so you will see a pop-up coming up on your screen with 4 questions. You can do a multi-select if you want. And then once Kriti lets me know, I will close the poll. And then we'll see the results on the screen as well.
Yeah, we'll give it five minutes, Vikas, for the polls to get finished, and then we can discuss the questions or the
Sure.
results. So the
Fi-
idea here, team, is I want to understand what is your knowledge for the outside in view, and what do you know about this before we jump into this conversation. So that's why I wanted to do this poll. So it will be nice if you can get me those answers so that I understand where everyone is coming from and what would they like to sort of understand better during the session we have today.
Right, so Kriti, there are 3 questions, right? The first one is
Yeah,
on the screen right now. Let me know when you want to close the first one, and we should move to the next one then.
yeah, I think we can close the first one,
We can close the
being
first
that.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to close the first poll and the results should be there on your screen. Do you see the results, Kriti?
Yes, I can.
Awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
Okay. Got
Pretty
it.
distributed, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'm opening the second one now. It should be on your screen now.
Yeah.
We got 104 responses as yet.
We'll give it
100.
another minute or so and we can close the question.
Okay, 133 right now. And I'm going to close the second one and then we'll go to the third one. Close poll, 146 responses.
Okay.
And you should see the results on your screen now.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Should I go to the third one
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. I'm launching the third and second last. So we'll have one more at the end. And this question does not simply mean going to showdan.io and looking for your IP addresses.
Yeah.
224 responses right now. 140. 146. Great. Should I close it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm closing it. You should see the results on your screen now. Yeah, in past 1 year is pretty clear out there, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay,
Awesome, awesome.
that's great. So we have a very, I would say, well-informed audience today. So it'll be fun to walk them through these two tools. So yeah, I think let me just start without any further ado, and I will discuss the polls also. I would want to see, it gave me an idea that a lot of you understand what the outside in view is. And it's great that, the monitoring of assets and all that has been done in the past 1 year, which is a very proactive way of resolving a lot of threats. But we can talk about a lot of it in detail here. But yeah, I think I'm happy with the results and happy to see that we have a very good, well informed cyber enthusiasts in our team. So so for before I start, all the questions you have, either you can paste it on the chat and or we can take it towards the very end of the session because I don't want to disrupt the flow of things here. So we have, set aside 10 minutes for Q&A as well as you can always paste it on the chat and then I can get back to you later. I will also share my email address. If you are, you want to have a further deep dive into the topic, you can always reach out to me and I will be there to answer your queries and guide you through. So yeah, so as I said, today we'll be talking about security outside the firewall. So we will be discussing the two tools, which is Microsoft Defender for threat intelligence and Microsoft Defender for external attack surface management. These are again two newly launched tools. So the agenda would be very simple here. We will be talking about why this acquisition was done, what is the MDTI and EASM overview? What are some of the use cases where you can, benefit from this tool? What and the demo, of course. And then I will walk you through the pricing and the roadmap of the things that are coming up in this, product going forward. So very quickly, like I said, a lot of you are aware of the outside in view. It is definitely getting a more deeper analysis into your environment, into your infrastructure to be very proactive and resilient toward maintaining a better security posture and managing your vulnerability and threats. But a lot of you might not know that why is that the need of the hour and why do we have to do that? So very simply, let me take you back to the times where it all started and why the defense has become so difficult. So as you know, in the old times with the mid 2000s and 2010s, we used to see a lot of targeted attacks. We used to see a lot of malware centric attacks, as well as a lot of firewall attacks, or even attacks which had a very broad targeting but very narrow impact. So defense was via malware prevention, and it was very easily possible because there was no expansion, or there was, not a major business disruption that would happen at that time. But as we have transformed, the technology has transformed, and due to COVID, we have digitally transformed the era that we are living in. Human operated ransomware has really taken its place in the cybersecurity space. We are seeing that the bad guys or the hackers are targeting the entire company. They are doing very sophisticated malware less attacks. They are doing very customized attacks that are driven by human intelligence, as well as there is a greater visibility of seeing that leading to a business disruption. We're also seeing that there is a successful defense that mechanism that you need to follow to sort of avoid such human operated or dangerous sophisticated attacks. So as the bad guys are getting better, we also need to get more proactive and resilient at managing those attacks. And since this is happening, the defense has become very, very difficult. This digitally transformed era has made it very difficult for the SecOps professionals to protect their emails, endpoints, entities, identities, cloud applications, workloads. So it's like there is a lot of dependence on the portals, a lot of dependent on the tools, and it makes it very difficult for the security professionals. We are overworked, and there is it's very difficult to manage everything all together. You just can't have bunch of a lot of security tools and manage everything there. You need to have a consolidated view of things so that you can easily juggle around and get a better stand at your alerts and manage your investigations better. So it's very hard to sort of detect those attacks. So it's a common question a lot of you might ask, that are we happy with the current solutions we have in the security space? What are some of the emerging threat vectors or the security regulation that is going to change how you do your business? How is the company digitally transformed assets are managed and monitored? Are there any external facing impacts that you might be missing out on? Are there any more things that you need to look at when you're trying to sort of address these attacks and ransomware? Do you have to get more resilient and proactive? So all those questions at to some extent will get answered today, because that's why Microsoft obviously has a greater place in the security space. We have the best security products in the market, and to sort of further ramp up our take towards cybersecurity, Microsoft is continuously aggregating threat intelligence across the entire digital estate, and we want to track actors so that we can get a better understanding of their behavior over time. So today at Microsoft, we track around 35 ransomware family, more than 250 unique nation states, cyber criminals, and other threat actors. So our cloud has also processes and it analyzes more than 43 trillion signals every single day. So there's a massive amount of intelligence that is already derived and inbuilt into our security suite of products. You might have heard it through Sentinel, through Defender. So we have already derived a lot of intelligence that gives us that unique insights, as well as helps us protect our customers better from the inside out. Now, in addition to all that intelligence, Microsoft acquired Risk IQ, which is a leading company in the security intelligence solution last year. And it leads in two ways, which is threat intelligence and the attack surface management. These are the two intelligence solutions Risk IQ works through. So in addition to what Microsoft already offers in its own inside out threat intelligence, the Risk IQ acquisition that was done over the year ago has helped Microsoft or us to provide our customers a unique visibility into threat actor activity, the bad guys' behavior patterns, as well as targeting. So with the help of these two solutions, you can also map your own digital environment and infrastructure to view your own organization from the attacker world, which is the external attack surface view that we give you. The outside in view delivers you with deeper insights and helps the organizations predict malicious activity and secure the unmanaged resources. So that's why we have acquired these two tools. To give you a very hypothetical, simple solution of what it does from a very close view. So as you can see, this is a your typical kill chain for a ransomware campaign attack, where it starts with delivery and it obviously leads to a greater impact. So as you can see on the screen, it starts with your delivery, and this is where the phishing emails and the malicious links are being shared. It starts with that basic step. Now, what we are saying that if you use these two tools, you would be able to avoid that delivery to happen altogether. And how can you say that? How can you ask? You can ask me how am I saying this, because the Defender threat intelligence tool that we are offering you provides you with that information prior to that attack can happen. So I will walk you through the different use cases as I move ahead. That what do I mean by this? But a very simple thing you can see on the screen. So we will scan and crawl the entire internet, provide you with that indicators of compromise that you can further on use to be more proactive and block unnecessary malicious traffic that's coming your way. And then you can avoid a delivery acquisition to happen at the very start of this ransomware kill chain. So it's a very simple process that we follow. So we are telling you that we are going to prevent the ransomware from happening by being more resilient and proactive. And that's what these two tools are here to provide you. So as I said, Microsoft, a lot of you might have that. I already use Microsoft products, or I already have a threat intelligence inbuilt. How can this product add value to me? So it's very simple. While threat intelligence is already built into your real-time detection, and a lot of security platforms, including Microsoft Defender family and the Microsoft Sentinel, the two new offerings will provide you direct access to the real-time data from Microsoft's unmatched security signal. So we are going to give you a level of data enrichment that you won't be able to find in the internal Microsoft set of tools. So this is the external threat intelligence that we are clubbing together with the Microsoft suite and giving you that protective view or a holistic view when it comes to getting that end-to-end security solutioning. So as you say, the intelligence, as you see on the screen, intelligence, as I said, Microsoft suite and its security products already has embedded threat intelligence, which will work your way through remediate, response, detect, and prevent. Now, these two tools that we have launched, it is a form of intelligence that is going to help you track your digital footprint, your digital infrastructure, as well as your assets that are externally available. You will also get a deeper insight or context into the threats and threat actors, as well as their TTPs and behaviors as you do your investigations and ramp up your security. So this was all to talk you and brief you about what these two solutions are. Now I'm going to deeper dive into both the solutions. So I will now walk you through what each of the tool do, and then the demo is followed by that. So Microsoft Defender for external attack surface management and Defender for threat intelligence are two tools that are there to give you the preventive view of things. So these are going to prevent things for you. They're not going to detect or block anything. I would want to clear that. So these are more of a preventive, proactive, resilient techniques or tooling that you can use so that you can have a better managed security posture of your infrastructure or your organization. While the EASM tool is going to discover, prioritize, and mitigate your digital assets, where you can understand your entire online asset view, or how does things look like from the attacker view. So then you can plan your remediation strategies as well as take actionable insights into it. You can also use our risk scoring, which will be provided to you by the tool, and manage your assets more proactively and get that view as well. Now, when I talk about threat intelligence, now threat intelligence is purely there to enhance and ramp up your investigations. You can identify, investigate, and respond, where you can understand the capabilities under one roof. So you can have the entire overall view of your, transformation journey, how you're adopting to the cloud, what are the changes, workflows, what are some of the engagements that you need to look at, and what are some of the techniques or the processes that the bad guys are using that could be a problem for your infrastructure, so you can have a better look at those TTPs as well as threats across the globe that are happening to get that better understanding of the tool. Now, very quickly, Defender for Threat Intelligence is here to combat your threats like ransomware, security solutions, as well as threat intelligence. And it is going to, you can integrate this with your existing SIM XDR solution or with Sentinel, where you can sort of empower your real-time detections and do an automated response to your investigations and incidents that happen over the time. You can also look at managing your threats in a better way, because you get that proactive view here. And you can also look at the analysts and SOC engineers can really benefit from these two tools, as they get that raw threat intelligence that they can use to further understand the tool's vulnerability as well as adversaries that are happening across the globe. Now, you might want to know how this intelligence works. So as I said, we graph the entire internet and we use risk IQ and threat intelligence AI capabilities, and get that embedded with all of our security products. So in the future vision that we have for this tool, this is all going to get embedded with all our security products at Microsoft, where we will will graph the entire internet. But this can get integrated with your SIM XDR, Sentinel, or Defender for Endpoint solution. And it can also work for Mac OS, iOS, Windows, Azure, GCP, Amazon Web Services, Linux, and Android clouds as well. So it is going to work for all your third-party clouds, your third-party operating systems, as well as your platforms. And this is a simple service that gives you that scope. Now, how does TI look in your organization? So as you can see, as Risk IQ and Microsoft builds this threat intelligence into the core of the products and services, it will give you that accurate attack detection that can alert you and defend against the threats in real time. It is also going to give you that defend against the threats in real time, and you can understand the gap that is there between the attack surface and unmask those vulnerabilities. So this is how the TI is going to look like in your organization. Now, how does the Defender threat intelligence work? A lot of customers of my, they've asked me this question, that how does this really actually work? So very simple. We have crawlers and sensors that scan the entire internet every day, looking for vulnerabilities, adversaries, and their infrastructure. Then these analysts sort of look at doing the analysis and automation of that using machine learning and the power of AI processes, where they process billions of requests across millions of web pages. And third and lastly, they look at creating a global internet graph that I just showed you, which sort of helps you get, it changes the revealed unmasking attackers, and it shows you the tools and techniques there. Once we sort of work around with that global internet graph, we then give you the raw finished TI that you get through our articles that will give you a more evolving landscape and a raw threat data that you can integrate with your SIM and XDR solution and further work on blocking this particular vulnerabilities. So let's deeper dive into how this science behind the graph works. It's very simple. There are threat actors that are intelligence, and they're constantly changing their tactics. So as I said, we have web crawlers and sensors that are sitting across who sense and crawl the entire internet. They do these scripted random interactions, as well as they send out these active and passive sensors. These threat actors then filter the web traffic, and they form a target and security vendors to hide that. Then they do these targeted attacks, and then they target a specific browser device or geolocation and the IP space to give you that raw TI that I was talking about. So we observe the internet through the eyes of the attacker. This is done by the Risk IQ Microsoft threat team that works on a daily basis to give you that raw TI that you can use to sort of further ramp up your security portfolio. So we act as a threat. We act as a threat actor. We filter out the traffic from the targeted organizations and the security vendors, and then just to stay hidden from the detection. And then we look at the specific browsers or vendors and regions of the world, and then we perform that. So we act like the intended victim and avoid detection just like the threat actors do, so that we can give you that raw TI and provide you with that information that you will see on our tool. So how do we blend it into the map and find the bad stuff? It's very simple. The Risk IQ crawlers, they crawl the entire collection of data which is predicted upon. They interact with the internet assets as well as virtual users and a lot of multitude of different perspectives, as well as the entire and the other virtual users and virtual machines. Then they give you that browser diversity, global proxies, as well as the IP space to work your way through around this and provide you with this TI. So interacting a user from a browser perspective sort of looks like this. We also see the internet like the user does. Then when the page is rendered, then we look at the response using the document object model. This allows us to understand the cookies, the PII, the links, as well as the website posture better. And you can then compare it with other DOM so that you can get things that are seen. And then you can use the hash signatures to identify the websites at a global internet scale. So a lot of technicalities are embedded behind this. We also do a infrastructure chaining where we start with different internet assets. So suppose for Defender for Threat Intelligence, we leverage the structure, uh, leverage the structure of the internet and identify the attack surface through the attack. So it starts with the domain seed, then it goes to the host, the IP address, IP block, and then it again stops at IP address, and we again start it that way. So this is how this particular attack sort of looks like. We look at assets that are searched across within the TI and provide you with that TI. So the amount of information we give you is this. So as I said, there are 250K new domain resolutions per day. So the amount of data that's enriched and derived on the tool looks like something like this. So we are not just giving you uh, you know, just the who is functionality. We give you information after scanning 2 billion web requests per day. You can see a lot of big numbers on the screen. So to club it all together, that graph explanation I just gave you, this is the enriched data that you get with our Microsoft Defender for Threat Intelligence tool, which is around 250K new domains that we resolve daily for the first time. There are 5.5 new hosts that we scan and go through on a daily basis. There are 106 billion plus total unique records of IPv4 that we see. So the crawling applications and pages across the web, we see around 2 billion web pages per day. We interact with the network services and devices at an IP layer. Then we inspect the traffic routing, including the passive DNS logs. We also do collect the domain and IP ownership, where you get your whois records. And apart from all that raw data, we enrich it with machine learning and Microsoft's AI to build a map of the infrastructure of the internet that we have been doing it for more than 10 years now. And now it's been the acquisition is done with Microsoft's enrichment. So we give you a lot of internet scale telemetry data that gives you a lot of derived data sets that can help the analyst as well as the SOC team to sort of ramp up their investigations and understand their threat intelligence architecture better. So once I show you the demo, you'll understand the amount of data we provide you with. So very simple. The next case is, how can I use this tool in my environment? It's a very simple thing. What security functions can benefit from? So as you can see, you can use this as from a security operations end. If you're a SOC analyst, if you're doing incidents response, if you want to do an active threat hunting, threat intelligence, or you want to also look at your cybersecurity research, you want to understand what is happening at a global scale, you can really benefit from this tool and work your way through in further resolving your incident and having that view of the attacker and their techniques better. Now, very simple use cases that you can use of this tool. It's very basic. The first one is, if you want to have a faster investigation, as I said, if you are someone who wants to get more visibility into their incidents and ramp up their investigations, you can have a look at this tool. And a simple example of this would be you looking at a Sentinel IP address and you want to further understand if there are any traces that malicious IP has left behind. You can easily scan that on our tool and find out more through this tool. So the data flow is there. Now, if you want to integrate, the second use case is if you want to integrate this with your Microsoft Sentinel or the Defender series to have a more automated security operations response, you can very well do that with our tool. You can, download the indicators of compromise, fetch that across the Sentinel, and run your investigations at a better view there. And finally, these are the licenses we offer. There are two licenses to this. There is a community version, which is a free of cost, where you get a current view of the 14 days visibility into what this data source is. You get all access to the data except for cookies and host pairs. Then you can create different live projects. There will be some limitations to this, but it will give you the look and feel that of the tool and what you can do with it. The premium one obviously is a advanced license that sort of gives you 10 plus years of historical data. You can also get a full access to all your data sets, create unlimited projects, and you will get a lot of derived data sets. So when I'm talking about the licenses, this is what it's going to look like. So you can see the community version has some limitations, while the premium one comes with a lot of insights that can help you, that can benefit you to understand that outside in view. And finally, you can easily get started with this threat intelligence piece. You just need to have a Azure account or a Microsoft identity account so that you can have the community usage. You can then log in as a community user, get that view, and do your investigations. If you're further interested, you can very well purchase the license and start with the trial of the premium license, in which you will get the first 30 day as as a free of cost. So this was all on threat intelligence. Let me now quickly walk you through the demo, and then I will take some questions on this. All right, I'm just pulling up my demo. All right. Okay. So as you can see, this is the Microsoft Defender for Threat Intelligence tool. This is our main dashboard that we give you the entire view of what is happening across, as I was saying, the articles that you have, or the global vision of the tools that you get, or the vulnerabilities or any threat that are happening across. You get that view, and this gets updated daily. So as you can see, 13 hours ago, 11 hours ago, this was, the articles get updated, so you can understand about different types of threats or vulnerabilities that are happening across globally, and if there is something you need to be cautious of. So let me look at this particular featured article that talks about Russian web email. So this was a infrastructure update. This was a particular vulnerability that was detected, uh, and they shows you or walks you through what it is, what it does, what are some of the network fingerprints that it's leaving behind. Are there any previously identified detection of patterns? And those patterns are mentioned here as well. And it also walks you through the type of SS certifications that could be linked with this particular threat or vulnerability. And you can also see the type of scripts it's running, or the type of banner patterns it's running. And you have a referential URL or the reports if you want to understand about the malware wellness, and so on and so forth. So if you want to understand how this can impact my organization, as I can see, there are some identified threat indicators that you can download from this download tab. Run that in your Sentinel and see if there is anything to be found in your environment that could lead to this attack in the future. So that way you're being more proactive and resilient. So as I said, you can also scan any malicious IP. So everything is interactive here. You can click on this and find out anything around that particular IP. So now I will show you the type of data that you get with this tool that I've been talking about. So as you can see, we have scanned this malicious IP. So the malicious score of this IP is mentioned here. This is the reputation that shows you how can you what is the status of this IP. If is it easily resolvable, is it safe, and if it's not, then the malicious score shows up, or the risk that it carries, it shows up. So obviously this is a malicious IP that's given a score of 100, which is a highly severe IP score. And then we have analyst insights to make it easier for the analyst to understand if this should be blocked, what are the snippets or the summary notes of this related to that domain or IP. Similarly, it also shows you if this has been found on an Intel profile. Intel profile is where we show you the TTPs of the attacker view and the bad guys. So I will show you that also very soon. Then you have any articles that are linked with this, as well as services that it's running on. You can find that out as well. And then you can see what are the certificates associated with that particular malicious IP. Then this is the amount of data we get with this tool. I know we just have 5 more minutes, so I can't walk you through everything. But if you're interested, then we can have a separate discussion and understand what type of data each of this means. But yeah, to summarize, the amount of data you get, where you get the who is records from 10 years, you can get emails, you can get your registrars, name servers, phone numbers associated with that domain or IP, and then you can understand what type of certificates they are running, the trackers that are behind it, which is a very important one to understand. So as you can see, there has been a SSH server public key raised with this. Then there are components that you can look at where you understand what type of category does it fall into. If this IP address has been running through a remote access, which could be a I would say a severe one to look at. Then you can also look at the host pairs. For this IP, there are none. And then you can also deeper dive into the type of services which is it's running, which is very important. So you can understand the response this IP gets and what are some of the other services that it's running as well. So you can see, you can see the remote access data stores, email servers, and even the certificates along with that. So it gives you a lot of data to work on and to sort of look at and sort of enrich yourself and understand if there is anything malicious. Then we have our Intel profiles. Now we use these Intel profiles by we use automated discovery and continuous scanning across the map, across the worldwide internet, where we monitor threats and the threat actors, and then we identify the indicators, actionable indicators or TTPs, which are drawn directly from those threat infrastructure, including their history, distribution, insight, researches, as well as everything related to the technique and tactics and procedures the bad guys are using. So suppose you want to understand about this particular activity group that is coming from China. So this shows that what it is. So nickel, suppose, is an activity group that is targeting the government entities or the government military industry. So if you want to understand, if you have any customers who are working in this space, can they have any, can they be exploited through this particular threat or activity? You can find that out here. So it shows you the type of activities the bad guys perform, so how they target. So it shows that this targets your financial services across Europe, Central and South America. And this has been active since 2010. And it sort of appears to be, it shows you what it does. So it's showing you that, it gathers data on the organization and individuals whose roles are related to political and legal sensitive matters, which and then they target those networks for the extended period of time, so like a DDoS. So you can understand what this nickel or any other threat actor is doing. Then you can understand the victimology, which shows you what type of victims do these or industries do these threat actors look at. So as you can see, this is targeting your government agencies or your NGOs or your financial services and all that. So here it shows you the sponsor state it's coming from and what are the targeted. Then this is a very cool thing to look at. You can then understand the TTPs. Then what are the technique, tactics, and procedures that the following attack techniques use. So there will be a link of all these files you can look at. So if you want to understand the MITRE attack, that user acquisition malicious file is one of the technique that this particular nickel uses. So on and so forth, you have bunch of those. What type of malware is present or the hacking tools that can indicate the attack group. So you can understand if you scan your infrastructure and if you're finding, suppose, a malware called Gippers or Howdy or even anything else. So you would know that this can be coming from this particular threat activity. And finally, it also talks about the infrastructure, where you can understand where is it hosted, what type of services it's running, what type of group it sort of looks at, what are the network connections that are legitimate that it runs on, and the infrastructure. And it also shows you the name it relates or uses to further attack or create technology related brands, as well as how it sort of targets and what is their behavior. You can understand that as well. And finally, you have these indicators. So for now there is some error here, but you will get a bunch of 500 plus indicators, as you can see. Sorry, there was a loading error, but yeah, as you can see, this has been picked by RiskIQ and VirusTotal. So we have collected, RiskIQ has enriched that data with Microsoft and collected bunch of these indicators that show you the type of hashes that are running, and there are 500 plus of these. You can again download this, run it in your SIM-XDR, and see if there is anything malicious that you can find in your environment that could be of a problem, and become proactive and resilient that way. So this is all I had for your threat intel and the outside in view. Uh, so I will now leave it for questions.